And thank you very much, all of us who have spoken before me. And most sincerely, thank you to Bwana Njegere. I know we are jacked you, but it is good you have been able to be prepared and be able to take through our principles on at least some critical basics as we come forward. The Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoa, our colleague, the County Commissioner, the director of this center, at least I can confirm I went to school because she happens to be a classmate of mine. The chair Principals Association, my colleague teachers and principals who are here. Today we are here to be able to guide ourselves, to be able to socialize ourselves to the new normal that has arrived with the coming in of this pandemic, the COVID-19. And I would not want to go to that direction. Today we are here to be socialized by our Cabinet Secretary, not only as a Cabinet Secretary, but also as a trained doctor, so that we can be able to see as we move forward to realizing some of the directives that have been given to us by the leadership of the country. How do we deal with it? Colleagues, I know the biggest thing that is there, and which Njegere just gave a mention, the issue of an intake. I know, yes, Barasa has mentioned it. We are preparing ourselves adequately. This center is a special place for teacher training because this is where we developed our designs. When we were developing designs for teacher education, this is where we did. And we are here today again converging as principals of these colleges to reflect on a few things, including these particular designs. And one of the things which Njegere should have also mentioned to you is that I hope and pray that all of us have copies of the designs and socializing ourselves to these designs. So we shall be engaging through Dr. Njegere so that we can ensure that you start socializing yourself to the designs so that we can start working on getting the necessary instructional materials and all that we shall need as soon as we have an intake. The other document you might want to socialize yourself also with is our curriculum policy, the curriculum reform policy. Two of the most critical documents which Njegere talked about, the basic education curriculum framework. This is the first time as a country, when we were developing this curriculum, we thought that this time round, we don't want things to be done where people can change their minds in the evening on what needs to be done in a curriculum. That's why we developed basic education curriculum framework, so that this becomes a permanent guide that will always be guiding us going forward. CS, I would want to give an assurance to the principals that I know there will be a time, mainly for the primary school teachers' colleges, that there will be an interlude between maybe November and May next year when we have our first intake, when you might not be having students. But we want to give you an assurance that we shall continue to fund you at the level that we are funding you today. So I'll give you that assurance that we shall not say because there are no students, we shall not be able to fund you. We shall fund you to the level that we continue to be funding you. We know you'll have challenges of not having collect fees from students, but we shall work together to see how we deal with this. On issues of infrastructure, we shall engage and continue working together. You have to start thinking because now your program will be 3 years. So when our team will be asking you about your capacity, you have to realize that your capacity is not over 2 years. Your capacity now has to be over 3 years. So you have to be careful so that while you are giving us your capacity, you don't give a capacity that will strain you along the way because you are thinking in a cohort of 2, not a cohort of 3. So we have to be careful as we move forward, because we shall be looking into the capacities as we prepare to start having our intake. Njegere has also talked about training of your trainers. As soon as you finish your examinations in November, we shall go into structured training to prepare you, both public and private, to prepare ourselves into training of diploma teachers. You know, a teacher is so critical. I'm a teacher myself. A teacher is so critical. And father and sister and the rest of us who are in the other teaching, we are told that teachers are co-creators of our children. They co-create our children together with our God. So if teachers are co-creators, what of those who create teachers? So if I'm the co-creator myself as a teacher, what of that who trained me as a teacher? What are you? You are at a different level. So you have to think on how to make sure that we get the right co-creators of our children. That is very important. We have to be innovative as we deal with the COVID-19. We are recalling, hopefully, as the CS will guide us shortly, we shall require your teachers to come and do their exams. The primary school ones, I am sure they have not gone out for teaching practice. We have to be innovative. How do we deal with that aspect of teaching practice? If at the same time that you are open, maybe the schools are not open. How will you deal with that? We have to be innovative and know how to make sure that these teachers are not disadvantaged. So we've got to think. We've got to think how to be able to take care of that. CS, I would not want to go beyond that. It is a medical issue. Luckily, we have you as our CS and also as a doctor. You will be better placed to guide us as we move to these very difficult and very challenging times, because we must continue. People talk about post-COVID. I think we should be talking about continuity, because we don't know when this post-COVID will come. This is a disease that has arrived, and we don't know how long it will be around. So we must have a continuity plans. How do we continue while dealing with the pandemic? So CS, with those very many remarks, I would not want to go into the jungle of COVID, but I can assure my colleague teachers that yes, we shall ensure that within the shortest time we shall allow you to have an intake, but we want to be adequately prepared before we are there. With those remarks, CS, welcome and guide us forward as we move. Asante sana. Karibu Afrika.
I am Daniel Kiptum Cherutoi, the Regional Director, Teacher Service Commission, Eastern Region. And on behalf of the fraternity of the TSC in Eastern Region, I welcome you, sir, and the entire leadership here this morning to the Eastern Region. My colleague, the representative of the Regional Commissioner, has already said a lot about our region. And as officers chaired by our indisposed Regional Commissioner, we would like to assure you that as a region, our colleges, our principals and the teachers in our 5 colleges are doing us proud in this region. I would also like to sincerely bring the apologies of the Secretary Teacher Service Commission, Dr. Nancy Macharia, who asked me to represent her in this meeting. I would like to join the entire sector's plea in ensuring that as a commission and as teachers, the colleges are made compliant with the protocols and the guidelines of the Ministry of Education in order for us to continue with the new normal. When I heard the Cabinet Secretary this morning challenge us on some things that perhaps as Kenyans we have always taken for granted, I felt for you, the principals, because you will be charged with the responsibility of ensuring that every person in that institution is properly protected by your leadership, so that if the minister, if the Cabinet Secretary allows us to resume learning in these institutions, he must be personally satisfied, and not just collectively, but individually as a college, that we are able to take care of the lives entrusted to us as the principals of these institutions. My final remark is, because we are leaders, the buck stops with us. Nobody will say it was so and so. The buck stops with us. And Kenyans are looking up to us as principals of all these institutions to guarantee the health of not only the students, but all the players within the colleges.